House Leader of Third Party.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our public schools have a ratio of 1 counselor for every 693 students. That means when a child needs help, it's often not available to them. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, research in Canada shows increases in mental health referrals and hospitalizations, as well as high rates of anxiety, self-harm, substance use, and suicidal ideation. It was those who were already most vulnerable that suffered most, Mr. Speaker. Many students report having limited to no access to mental health support at school. There just aren't enough counselors to meet the needs of students. The ratio of counselors to students in the teachers' collective agreement is 1 counselor to every 700 students. It's been that way for 20 years. The president of the BC School Counsellors Association, Mackenzie, said, quote, "When you consider how schools, society, and the conversations about mental health have changed, 20-year-old ratios are a travesty and deserve the attention from the Minister of Education." So my question, Mr. Speaker, is to the Minister of Education: when will this government meet the needs of students and hire enough school counsellors to cover the students' needs in this province?
Minister of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I really appreciate the member's concern. I share the similar concerns about the mental well-being of our children. And as a government, we make it our priority. Since 2017, Mr. Speaker, we have hired nearly 300 teacher psychologists and counsellors across the province. And we know how important the mental health and their well-being is, and it also helps in their learning as well, Mr. Speaker. And along with that, we are working across the ministry, whether it is with the Minister of Mental Health and Addictions or with the Minister of Children and Family Development. We are also trying to break the stigma around the issue of mental health. We have the integrated child and youth teams, Mr. Speaker, which are operating right now in 5 school districts, and we have just announced that will be extended to 7 more districts across the province. It is a very complex issue, no doubt, and I really agree with the member opposite that especially the challenges that we have faced in the last few years, how this issue has even aggravated. We take it as a priority, and recently, just this week, my colleague from Mental Health and Addictions was in Squamish opening the foundry, which we know is also a very key resource for our youth and our children, and we will continue to invest in the resources that are much needed.
House Leader, Third Party Supplemental.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Our children need the support at school. It's where they spend many hours of their day through their youth growing up, and oftentimes the accessibility of a school counselor or psychologist will mean whether or not the child gets the kind of support that they need immediately, or whether or not the problem continues to grow. Unfortunately, and we know healthy kids and healthy lives, when you're a youth, make healthy adults. Catching mental health care needs early prevents lifelong illness, potential substance use disorders, and helps put children on a path to lifelong wellness, Mr. Speaker. We need to be investing in our children's mental health. We appreciate that the minister's added 300 new counselors and psychologists, but from everything that I'm hearing from our school system is that it's still far from enough. So I'll ask the question to the Minister of Education: will the minister change the ratios so that there are enough student counselors and psychologists to meet the needs of our students?
Minister of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I really appreciate the question. Mr. Speaker, as I mentioned, that it is our priority. We know that how important the mental health and the well-being of our children is, and as a government, we are investing in our education system, and especially working with the most vulnerable, most marginalized youth and students in our schools. And since 2017, we have made it a priority, and we will continue to do that. We know, Mr. Speaker, we have done a lot since 2017, but also we have been filling the gaps. We know the gaps that were left out by the previous government. We are trying to fill those gaps. We know a lot has been done, and we are committed to work even harder for this.